Astro, Monster Energy, Corsair, Hacks, and GGBet.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a special warm hello to everybody in the building here in Jönköping. It's always great to hear that go around, an old DreamHack tradition. Of course, this is another installment of DreamHack Summer, and you can see the trophy that our 8 teams from across the world are battling it out for. And of course, with that comes the prize of a lion's share of $100,000. My name is Parla, and I'm your desk host for the duration of this event, and I'm still joined by Jacob and Dust. Good to see you, gentlemen. We have one more match to go today.
And what a match that's gonna be, Parla.
It should be maybe. I mean, after seeing Optic perform, I now have a lot more confidence in them. CompLexity had a Stormer as well, but I'm not sure they're prepared for the Danes. Dust.
No, I think that's a fair point. Like, when they met in Austin, Optic smashed CompLexity, and now both teams look improved since then. So, like, maybe if Optic were still looking shaky and we saw CompLexity's improvement when they played against Renegades, maybe you'd favor their chances. But because both teams have gotten better since then, you would think Optic still have the edge in this battle of the upgrades.
What would you say, Pimp? Do you agree or disagree?
I would agree. I think Optic is just a better team on the paper. I think Optic has the more experienced players, and they have the more tested players as well. They have more talent. They have a better nationality. Obviously, they're Danish, so that plays into that.
Nationality.
The better nationality. I'm sorry about that, Doug, but America, yeah, fine. It's gonna be a close game, I think, but Optic should be the favorites coming into this one.
All right. Well, let's take a look at how Group B has transpired so far, landing us into our current position. We saw the day start off with CompLexity absolutely thrashing Renegades and moving forward to play Optic, who had beaten Gambit. Quite similar scorelines, leading us to where we are now. And also tomorrow we'll see Renegades square off against Gambit in that loser's bracket. Pimp, I'm going to be honest, I did not expect to see CompLexity here. I thought Renegades were going to do the dirty work needed and take themselves over the edge.
Yeah, me too. And it's just, we talked about this group being very stacked, and when then the upset comes in, you know, it seems even more stacked all of a sudden when CompLexity is also one of those teams that apparently can put up a fight. It's going to be interesting to see tomorrow which one of Renegades and Gambit will go out first, because one of these teams are not going to make the playoff, and already there you can say that's a big disappointment for either of those. So CompLexity already now making ravage in this group, and it's going to be interesting to see if they can keep this one up against Optic. As we just set up or talked about, Optic are the favorites in this one. They are seemingly the better players, but if CompLexity have improved enough over the last 2 weeks, then they may have a chance.
Dust, Mr. Map Maestro, tell us what your crystal ball is telling you about what we should expect.
I mean, the thing is I don't really know much about Optic's map pool because they just came together, but I expect to see CompLexity stay away from Overpass and Nuke, and then for Optic, they're going to ban Cache. I know that those 3 maps are pretty much off the table, but I think anything's fair game between maps like Inferno Mirage or maybe even Nuke, if it does somehow get left in by CompLexity. But I feel like it's likely going to go more the route of like Inferno Mirage or something like that.
Well, the first ban has come in, and it's CompLexity banning out Overpass. Following that, Optic have said, no, we don't want your cash. We don't want no scrubs. Scrub is... Anyway, that's an old school R&B reference. Let's leave it there. Train is banned out third. Fourth, it's Dust 2. Not this Dust.
We're going the Nuke, I'm pretty sure now.
Yeah, it looks like Inferno has come next, and it's Mirage, maybe
Optic should pick Nuke now. They have
that, and yes,
to them. There we go.
Nuke has been left. The first time we are seeing it today. Exciting stuff. A map that's kind...
Yeah, well, I was just going to say that's super interesting, because I feel if you're CompLexity and you're leaving in Nuke against a Danish team, and in particular against the Snappy's team, you know, who's always been great on Nuke with their rogue lineup, then you must have confidence in your own abilities on Nuke. So either we're going to see a completely stomp from Optic here against CompLexity, or we're going to see a CompLexity who's been working on Nuke that actually has something in store for us we haven't really seen before.
Yeah, I was about to say, Nuke at this point in its most recent iterations, there are teams that have really become specialists on it, and to an extent, what you're saying I think is absolutely accurate and what I wanted to touch upon. But Dust, let's delve into CompLexity first. Tell me about who we should be looking out for going up against Optic. Is Shazam going to have to out-AWP Yugi?
Yeah, I mean, if they meet each other outside, depending on what side they're playing from, that's definitely going to be a battle to look out for. I think one of the cool things about CompLexity is not only have they upgraded by finally having a true in-game leader, which is something they haven't had in years, but they also have like probably one of the best operators they've ever had in years as well. And because these players have come in and they're quite good, it's actually elevated the game of some of the classic members that have been on the team for quite some time. Like, Def's individual form has stepped up to a really high level ever since Stanislaw and Shazam joined the team. Like, he's played the best Counter-Strike he's ever played for CompLexity. And you have someone like Ye, who's like one of the youngsters from the NA scene for this team, who is quite good, quite talented. And Android's been probably their most consistent piece over the years, and he's still on the team, still doing well. So, like, it wasn't just that the 2 slots that got players filled to upgrade the team, it elevated everyone else on the team as well, which is really nice.
Man like Def, my G on road. I'm saying that because he's from the UK, and I want to know that everybody, we still have representation in the scene. We've got Smooya out there as well. Pimp, UK.
You're funny, yeah. Well, what? Sorry?
Pimp!
Yeah?
You're bad-mouthing me again in the UK scene.
I'm bad-mouthing the UK scene, not you.
Okay, good. All right. Well, you do both in great measure, so just checking you.
Nah, I mean, Dust is right. You know, there's some, and you're partly right, I guess, too. There's a few players from the UK who actually do knows how to use a mouse and a keyboard at the same time. And that's great. We're going to see them in this game. And you're right, you know, they have been elevated. You know, it feels like Ye and Death and Android have been playing better in entirety with this new CompLexity lineup. And that's, again, you know, that's a known quantity from our in-game leader. If you're able to be an in-game leader on a team and make maybe a player that is normally a 5, you know, make him play like a 7 despite him not being better than a 5, then that's a good quantity and a good quality to have in a leader. So if he can keep that up, Stanislaw, with this lineup, then again, there is potential for this CompLexity lineup to maybe become the new Renegades, where you see them, you know, constantly making into lane tournaments and constantly qualifying for stuff.
Now, let's go back to Optic Gaming, and maybe we can reignite the point that we were talking about before, Pimp, with regards to this team, specifically on Nuke. It seems a bit cheeky that it slipped in, considering Snappy is leading Optic.
Yeah, it tells me that CompLexity must really believe in their own Nuke abilities, otherwise you wouldn't play Nuke against Optic. It's that simple. Snappy has been playing this map for quite some time with Heroic, and they were always doing good results there. Heroic were in particular one of the first teams to beat Virtus Pro, where they were unbeatable on Nuke, so they know how to play that map.
That team, like, they were the best Nuke team for like a while. That Heroic team that was being led by Snappy. So yeah, and they also did play on Nuke at Austin, and Optic smashed them 16-6 because they had like a 13-round CT side in the first half. Like, nothing CompLexity did on T side worked against Optic. But, you know, I always think that like losers have the most to learn from games, so like CompLexity is probably the one that went back to that demo and watched it and learned it a lot more than maybe Optic probably took away from it. So maybe they saw some things that Optic were doing that they can probably counter. The biggest example of this is that when Optic plays TT side on Nuke, they'll throw an incendiary grenade down by Red Box to stop the smoke wall from forming for Secret, and they kept disrupting all of CompLexity's outside tactics by doing that. So maybe CompLexity's found a workaround to avoid that or deal with it head on, and that adjustment could be how they sneak a win in here. But just in general, like, Optic has more proven talent, more experienced talent, and particularly a more proven track record on Nuke in particular.
Nonetheless, the younger guys have been showing their worth as well. Yugi, for instance, has definitely become a silent assassin of types and making his mark on many of the games that he's played in his career. And Gade earlier today was also stepping up. He is showing that when he's playing on a platform like this, he's not necessarily going to let the nerves get to him, is he, Pimp?
No, he's not, and he's, again, you said it before in the pre-show, he's raced in North Academy, so it's fun to see a player from an Academy team, you know, going into a team of Optic's caliber and now also showing on LAN that he's able to perform. I saw him exactly half a year ago here at the DreamHack Winter 2017, playing with North Academy, and it was not too great. You know, they were bombing out of the tournament, and the only player who did Ravage from that team was Mertz, who's now finding
How
in the main
badly
Optic
do you think
lineup.
Mertz and Gade want to play each other and smash each other?
I think they want to play each other pretty bad, and not only because of those two, but just because of the whole rivalry between the Danish teams. You know, Optics thinks to themselves that they should be the second best team. North obviously have a understanding of themselves that they should be one of the best teams in the world.
They have more to prove, though, at this point, still, Optic, don't you think, Dust?
Yeah, they have, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, the sample size is so incredibly small. Right? Like, their EPL debut actually went quite well. They scored some big series wins and actually made the playoffs of that tournament, despite the fact they had very little preparation and time together as a unit. Austin, a bit of a disappointment, yeah, but losing the Space Soldiers is, like, fair enough. That team actually is quite good. The Rogue loss was definitely iffy, and you probably kind of shake your head at that one. But like, you know, Snappy was saying in the post-game interview, you know, they've had a lot more time to practice together here in Europe over the past couple of weeks. They've had time to, you know, work things out. And I think that when we saw this lineup on paper, it did just seem like only a matter of time before things would click and they would perform better than what we saw at Austin. And we saw already a hint of that earlier today.
if you take a look on screen right now, you can see our live GG.bet odds. CompLexity sitting at 3.01 and Optic at 1.38. So the guys in green are the favorites. And I guess that will move us shortly into our own predictions. Pimp, any final thoughts? Dust, yourself as well?
Why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, I mean, I will say that Optic should win this. I mean, I just think that they're the more proven Nuke team. I think they have a little bit more. But I am curious, like, CompLexity left this in for a reason. Like, they made a very conscious decision not to ban Nuke, even though that's, like, one of their classic bans in the past. Maybe they're doing something different with Stanislaw. So I am curious, like, what tweaks do they make from their Austin performance to now to justify having left Nuke in the map pool. And that'll be interesting. I think it's going to be a closer game than what Austin was. I think they're going to get skunked 16-6 again. They definitely looked better earlier today, but I think it's still going to be like a tight victory for Optic.
Okay, so Dust there officially going with Optic?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Okay, sweet. I am also going to go with Optic. I went with Gambit against them earlier, and what a mistake I made. I'm not going to repeat it a second time. I think the Danes are a powerhouse of force here right now, but it's best one. Anything can happen. Pimp, do you think, in terms of that it could go against them? Why don't you tell us in a form of 3 reasons brought to you by Hacks?
I mean, I got you 3 reasons for why this game is going to be fun. And obviously you would say to yourself, all Counter-Strike games are fun, right, Pala? But this one is going to be in particular very fun. And the first reason for that is the bad blood between these players. We haven't talked about it yet, and I'm so happy for that I get the chance to talk about it now. Stanislaw and Shazam were playing with Cajun, and we're playing in Optic more than, 3 months ago, when they were left out of the team, and the Optic guys, the Danish Optic guys, took over that team, kicked the NA guys out of the team, made it Danish, and all of a sudden, Shazam and Stanislaw were left out in the cold. There was a lot of bad blood between those players, and a lot of stuff being said publicly, both on Twitter, on streams, and all that kind of stuff. And there's some tensions within these guys, which is why this game is extra fun to follow, because who's going to be coming out on top of this? Stanislaw is doing quite well for himself in CompLexity, and so is the Optic guys. So it's going to be a direct clash here between the former teammates that, let's say it safe, didn't like each other when they were playing with each other, and definitely don't like each other now. Second reason for that, that it's going to be a fun game, is CompLexity. They're playing Counter-Strike at a very high level. They did that the first game today, and it was probably better than any of us would expect, I would say. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can keep up on that level. And the third reason is obviously Optic. They are in for the grind. They are in for consolidating themselves as being one of the best teams in the world. They have the potential, they have the players, they have the talent to be one of the very best, and this is their start to that grind. I think Optic is a favorite to win this tournament, and I think if they can keep up the level we saw in the first game, anyone playing at DreamHack Summer should be worried about them.
All right, fantastic. And that bad blood is definitely a storyline that I think makes this matchup extra spicy. If you weren't aware, it was a few months ago now where Optic were originally some Danish players that are now still on Optic, and then they had Stanislaw and Shazam, and then there was like a falling out, and they went their separate ways. And so there's definitely going to be...
It wasn't pretty.
Yeah, that bad blood.
Yeah. It's weird, though, because I talked to CompLexity players about it at Austin, and they just seemed like it was overblown. Like, they didn't really care anymore. Like, to them, it didn't matter. I don't know if they were just saying that just to say that publicly to me, but it just seemed like it wasn't really affecting them, whereas Config, like, feeds on that kind of thing. Like, he's a trash talker. He put out, like, a nice little Twitter image during the Austin event, which is quite funny, and he's definitely a guy that kind of, like, thrives on that type of thing. And I think it's nice. Like, that's the line. You know, other players learn. Like, there's a line of trash talk that's fantastic for the scene. Then there's the point where you take it too far. I think Config dances the line nicely. And like you said, it adds a little bit more flavor to the game.
I just want to see Config balls all over the table, so I'm all fine with that.
Back
I bet you do,
Config's balls. And with that, let's take a look at who Twitch chat have voted with who they think is going to win. It's 81% in favor of Optic and only 19% in favor of CompLexity. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that, but let's see if our casters are in agreement, who are now ready. It's Hugo and Scrawny.
Oh, you got my name right this time. Thank you.
No Jedi, no lightsabers, and you know what? You guys can take it away.
Thank you so much, Paula. Thank you so much, gentlemen on the desk. Hugo, this could be history in the making. Do you know why?
Oh, well, you tell me, because you've clearly got the answer.
The answer is because for the very first time, we could see both of the North American and European qualifier teams exiting the groups in first position. Never has this happened. I mean, Rogue did it, of course, just an event ago in Austin, and now CompLexity look to repeat for North America. I think they have a huge task ahead of them, not only because they're facing Optic, as Pimp alluded to, one of the favorites for this tournament, but they are playing on Nuke. there has to be some kind of trick up Stanislaus' sleeve.
Yeah, I don't understand this at all, right? While CompLexity have had the past in playing Nuke Online, especially recently, like you're going up against a Danish team. We already know Danes love themselves some Optic, some Nuke. So yeah, this is a real fight, I guess, CompLexity are going to have to put up. But I'm excited. The fact that they've literally gone for this map makes me think that, yeah, there's clearly a game plan. They've obviously gone over demos, and they know Optic would never ban this map in a best of one, so they can safely assume that it would come down to it.
I mean, when we had both of our kind of, team profiles up on screen, we saw that statistically the best map for Optic is Nuke. So CompLexity, again, they have to have something in particular. And I really like what Dust said on the desk, where, the losers have the most to take away from a loss, right? So a 16-6 whooping in Austin could have given CompLexity what may be a solution. Although I don't think it's going to be very simple. Optic on the T side. Now that is the side they started off on Austin. That's where they began their grueling half that did, of course, get them to the victory lane. But now it's CompLexity's turn to receive and Optic's turn to push. It's Ye over here towards ramp, kicking off our initial pistol. He sees a lot of bodies barreling in his direction, so good call to just retreat and fall back. Android has to be wary of that potential hell flank, but Ye's not going to get anything done down towards B.
Yeah, jumping shots coming through for Snappy. Def will grab one from the depths of the site, but he's going to need a little bit more as Config chasing him down and putting the bullets to the head. 2 kills for him. Holds on to the decontamination room, and Android begins to move back in. But Config, a third coming through. This man is not stopping. He wants this victory. And tasting blood in the water, Shazam looks to move back in. He'll catch Gabe with his back turned, but Config, he's already worked his way back up towards the A site.
Shazam has to get himself up through the vents, and Config's just going to train himself on it. A little verticality in his angle as well. Somehow Shazam's going to have to bait out this shot and get himself flying out from the vent, because if he does this slowly, he's dead. Just like that, he's able to get himself back downwards. This is a second chance, but a single shot will do it. Config with 4, and it's Optic with a pistol.
I mean, if there's any man that's going to step up in this game, it is Config, or he needs to. Him and Yugi, 2 big fraggers, not only on this team, but especially on this map. We just saw Cajun have a pretty sick series, though, in the previous for Optic. So there's definitely some life on this team, and Config is bringing that into the pistol round. 4 from him. Not a game that CompLexity are going to have an easy chance in if they're going to take this victory. It's a nade stacker towards outside, potentially, although they're all going to hold on to them in main, so this could be late towards the door where Cajun B sits. Optic actually giving up outside. It's very common you'll see T-side teams after winning pistol take outside control just because they know they're up against pistols, and these rifles certainly better at range. But Optic, they negate that factor. They go back towards the ramp where CompLexity don't have any presence. Def's rotated in to try and hold the line, but he's got to give up the B site.
Android thinking about the possibility of pushing into Hut. That would net them information and a potential flank, but again, you have such little hardware to play with. You're hoping for a kill or 2, if you're lucky. Of course, with the bomb plant secured down towards the B site, they use the distance and stay away from the door.
I mean, even if CompLexity find 1 or 2 kills here, that'd be nice. Just take away some guns, try and save something. At the end of the day, they're not fully forced into this. And that's nice to see as well. You know you're very unlikely to win these rounds. You're up against Optic, so at the end of the day, holding on to full pistols and actually having a really good 4th round buy with rifles, with utility, having that AWP as well to fight up against Yugi. These are all things that CompLexity can use to their advantage. And a nice shot from Ye, as we said, CompLexity actually taking a couple of kills here in the exit. So Optic not as clean as they would like, but it's still a 2nd round to the board.
Yeah, and Android even gets to move that Kevlar forward, right? So, so close. Ye nearly got his paws on that AK, but it's just not meant to be. I do like, of course, this reserved buy decision coming in from CompLexity. They are just going to wait until they have, of course, all the money in the world, Hugo. They want themselves a nice, solid, chunky buy. Grenades, kits, and caboodle. But right now they'll have the double frag for Stan and Def to stack. Those go sailing forward outdoors and nearly catch Config. He'll find himself on 12 points of health. Of course, a teammate takes those steps forward, replaces him on an expedition outdoors. Snappy's being given a lot of room to work here. He doesn't want to be overly aggressive in this situation because you'd hate to offer up a gun. I mean, remember, Optic have already sustained some losses.
And this is exactly how you should play these anti-ecos and the T side. Just hit outside. You know, Complexity, even if they stack it, they're not going to have, you know, the weaponry to fight back. Good utility, again, something Optic has been praised for so far this event, but that sucks. Config shot through the smoke, the finishing blow from Stan, and he's going to look to do a little bit more, but Gade's not taking the bait. In the meantime, Snappy's worked his way all the way through the CT spawn, and with more kills coming through for Optic, there's a chance to split this A site, but that's awkward. Shazam gets caught up in the rafters, so now Optic, well, they are taking a couple of casualties. They're not giving any guns away. They're not giving an opportunity to Complexity.
Still, though, these Optic players are pretty disjointed. Other than the bomb carrier working his way towards B, it's this man outdoors that's getting pressure. They really want to drop Yugi here, but he's doing a great job of isolating these 1v1s. A little Glock burst to seal the deal. So Optic picking up that third round. They get themselves through the conversions, although it wasn't clean. And I do like what I'm already seeing here, right? That grenade stack from Complexity called by Stan, that could have been a little bit of a read into the aggressions, the tendencies of Optic. Now we find the true test here for the Danes. They have guns ahead, and Shazam wields an op.
None on the T side, though. That's a big factor. Shazam's going to be playing that secret position, could easily rotate back up the stairs to fight outside, and look at where Optic is smoking. It's not going to be the commitment just yet, but the wall is down, and now that is really awkward for Complexity. It makes them question, is there a man down B? They have no idea, but Optic are going to fast play the A site to give them all the knowledge in the world. Android with a good position, finds two, and he drops up into the hut as well to find the third, and Android is just having a field day on this A site. Yugi the last man up, but surely this is a task 2 tool.
There you go. Shazam comes in from outside. Great play from Android. Again, one of the players that has been, I would argue, most consistent throughout many iterations of Complexity. He's the second longest standing member after Def, I believe. And, you know, Def is, I think, kind of, you know, shined to the top as of late. Definitely succeeding under the command of Stan. But Android's always been competent, always been capable. That's what you love to see. Although, a position that most certainly will be checked next time they execute into the A site. That's for certain. Although, they're not in the clear just yet because Optic still are equipped with 3 rifles. There's a gap in the smoke, but Rory tries to hold off on Mini. He does fall. A 5 versus 3 is not a good look here. An immediate reset certainly not going to help what will be a difficult CT side.
And 2 players on pistols can now upgrade to those 2 rifles dropped. We even have an AWP in the yard for Yugi to pick back up, but in the meantime, Complexity get aggressive. They want to force kills somewhere else. And while Android drops 1 up in the lobby, Ye's not done with his pushing either. A single frag, but caught in the back. Yugi shuts it down. And it is just Android alone. He's got to go absolutely huge in this round, but he's in a 1v3 with just 20 points of health. Config not spotted him. I thought he had, but no. Android going to find the kill. And the second as well. Android is going robotic here in this 1v3. And Yugi is the only man left to stop it. Down through ramp. Exactly where Android looks to play. Does Yugi commit towards that B site? Yes, he does. And he's going to be heard as well. Android, full awareness of this position. And he's going to have the time to chase him down as well. Yugi sticks the plant, and Android runs right behind. Spray connecting, but 2 HP left up.
He's going to make a lot of noise now. He does drop back down into the bomb site. He's got the double flash. He's trying to bait out something from Yugi. This would be huge from Android. Bradley Fodor, can he do it? He hasn't gotten the peek out. Ice in the veins of Yugi. A tap. Again, no peek. He's been able to sneak his way above, but he makes noise. Oh, and Android's got it! Android's got it! 4 kills in the round in a 1v3. No reset, Hugo. That's so sick.
Every time we get to these clutch situations, it seems that I completely count out the player and they go and do something incredible. I mean, we said Complexity need a trick up their sleeve, Connor. They need something, and maybe this man is what they need.
Config just gets blindsided. That kill was crucial. He anticipated Config being confident, maybe, and then Yugi had a chance, but he kind of blew it. That's big. I mean, of course, Optic are going to come in and invest off of this, but it's haphazard. A scout, Galil, and little utility. It's not perfect for Complexity, let's be real. SMGs and lackluster nades for them as well to work with, but we've got a bit of a slugfest, Hugo.
We've got a game on our hands, it seems. Neither team rolling over just yet. Complexity looking to equalize the scoreline, and with Optic having severe limitations, that's certainly a possibility here. No real nades to work with, but for both teams as well. We've only got 1 incendiary and a single smoke up on Complexity left, just seconds into the round. So we're Dame battles where this round's going to go. Yugi holds down Secret with his scout, but desperately would like to upgrade that to the AWP that Shazam holds onto. Fail flash, Config gets blinded, but luckily no one there in the garage at least to shut him down. So slowly but surely, Optic are gaining map control, but CompLexity are totally fine with giving up this yard position. You can see Ye's positioned up in the heaven to lock down any kind of split towards his site. Right now, Optic have got players deep in the CT spawn, but where will they go with this?
CompLexity just giving away the entirety of outside. This is so much control and information for Optic gained. Ye, the pressure's on him, and Snappy's going to use the railing to come in at a different angle. That's a crucial duel, which has been won, and now they double down, and it just starts to fall to pieces. Everybody's dying here for CompLexity. They are 4 men down. Shazam suddenly left alone. Oh my goodness. But that's what happens, right? You give up the entirety of outside, you let Optic play their game. They're going to be in such a prepared position once they decide to execute inwards, and that's exactly what they do. They execute the entirety of CompLexity there.
And the second Snappy finds that first kill, that's the problem for CompLexity, because then you have everyone on the site, yes, still with a stack, but they need to look around, they need to check, you know, towards Hut, where the split's still coming through. Snappy double pushes up and finds a second kill towards the rafters. I mean, all of the attention of CompLexity is completely diverted on that bomb site. They need to win at least one duel there to try and relieve some pressure, but it is all the way of Optic, and even that orb gets chased down by Yugi at the end, so he's going to upgrade from the scout. Definitely not a weapon CompLexity wanted to give over, but a big upgrade now for the side of Optic means CompLexity are down to pistols. Again, the triple nade setup, but small consolation. I like this, though. They've set it up for the silo, so anyone that climbs up on top may get a bit of a welcome gift, and that's Yugi. Nades go over, and so close, but yet so far. 23 HP.
Still presence here from CompLexity. They've got players just back behind all these boxes. Molotov will prevent any kind of a peek from that direction, and the flashbang ensures that Snappy should be able to just force his way through here, but oh my god, he's getting pinched from everybody now. There's so many peaks coming off of these pistols. These CT's nearly dead, but Shazam's still up for now until finally Gade will clear this box. In the meantime, Android's got himself an upgrade, and Hugo, look at the damage that's been dished out. Optic barely standing at this point. But it falls on Android once more.
And this time not even armor to work with, so every shot needing to connect.
And an ace. No, 4.
Oh, he's done it before. Let's see. Bomb down. They are watching the Vento and they're double peeking it. No games being played by Optic Gaming. 5-2 up. They'll get rid of the eco from CompLexity, but at least a bit of damage done on the way with very minimal investment. Only HE's bought up. And it will be a similar round coming through for the CT side, but Connor, we're really at a point where, you know, while the scoreline's fine at the moment, if CompLexity are giving away this round, that's a 6th to Optic.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's already a 6 T side, and we're already 8 rounds in.
And remember that these 2 rounds come off of the back of Android single-handedly, right? Yeah. A 3K where he locks down the Hut push into the A-bomb site, and then that massive 1v3 clutch. So, barring Android's big plays, CompLexity haven't really had much stake in this match thus far. And again, right, this is now just Optic going through the motions. They're obliterating the anti-eco, as it should be. Again, their best map, right? So you need to be bringing something more to the table. They've tried this grenade stack multiple times. Hasn't quite worked out just yet, but you know, it's early. Unfortunately, it's also Optic now racking up the cash, building that economic backbone and giving them some stability, which could translate so easily into a very lopsided half.
We do have the orb back out for Shazam, and that needs to be a massive factor here. We've already seen Yuki just go and get 3 in the previous. Android, he gets aggressive. Look at this push. Yuki does get a kill, but they don't expect Android going back in for more. Yuki shuts it down, luckily enough, with the AWP, but CompLexity are trying to suffocate this lobby. It has not gone well for them. And even though the Fire and Flames keep players back and Shazam drops another on the A site, Optic still hold the man advantage and confident at that.
Yeah, there's also this player creeping in from outdoors. Config's going to get some positioning above, and that could be the end of Shazam as we know him. Done. Last man up will be Def, and he does respond with at least a kill of his own. And remember, of course, Yugi and Cajun are so tagged up already. They're going to have to play side by side, and Yugi could single-handedly win it with just a single shot. He does. And the beauty of Yugi is not only is he very good individually speaking on Nuke, but what's most impressive in my mind is his ability to use that op in close quarters situations. You saw him clear out Android, who tried to get into that hut push, because it can be very damning for a terrorist-sided team to get into lobby and suddenly be surrounded. But when your opper in those situations is still picking up kills, that's when you know you're good to go.
And he's one of the few oppers that I find is so good at finding opening picks on T-side Nuke, right? That can be such a difficulty if the CTs go for a passive setup, but no, Yugi having no problem with it. 3 kills, 2 rounds in a row, one of them albeit being an anti-eco, but still it's the impact coming in from the AWPer of Optic. Top of the board there as Android is for CompLexity. And like you said, aside from Android, we've got a silent team on CompLexity. 3 kills and 2 kills on every other player. He's sitting on 13.
Yeah, again, Android, he's going toe-to-toe with Yugi, but Config is kind of that next level above and beyond right now for Optic, and there's no second man for CompLexity.
Yeah.
So somebody definitely has to step up, and you'd hope they do it sooner than later, because we're falling into the later portions of this half, and it's still just 2 rounds on CompLexity. CZs once more for them. A tail all too commonly seen thus far, and it's a tragic one, which doesn't tend to end well. Majority of these rounds have had economic woes for the North American side, and now it's already split down into the A-bomb site. Cajun B emerges from the doorway, and despite Shazam falling in from heaven, he will be sent packing away quickly. So the last 2 counter-terrorists seen outside. Cajun B looks to lock down this corpse. Stan wants to get himself close, but this is an 8th for Optic and a T side that is, well, devastating at this point.
Yeah, I think that's the right word for this one. Optic are having no problem. And this is the worry we had coming into this game, right? I think, honestly, given the way the CompLexity played earlier and their recent upward, I can never say that word, trajectory, I think if this ended up on a different map, we could have really seen a good game from CompLexity. But coming into this one, given their history, given the fact that just a couple of weeks ago in DreamHack Austin, Optic 16-6, this exact team on this map, I mean, I just don't think Optic would ever be worried. Even if CompLexity has gone over the demo and improved in some way, Optic are just the better team on Nuke.
I think Optic are obviously still just the better team individually as well, right? And that's a part of this equation we're seeing here today. I feel like if somebody else is stepping up with Android for CompLexity, then they still have some stake in this. Although, you can't really count on that, right? That's the problem. Even if you have the most prepared of strategies, the game plan may be on point, but if the shots are not, then your struggles are real. It will be weapons back in the hands of CompLexity. Stanislaw as well with a nice little angle over the top of the door, which has been a key piece for Optic in terms of their A play. Remember, we saw Android get a multi-frag from up here, but I believe Android's actually still there side by side with Stan. Yes, they've got the double man, although the wall spam comes out for Optic. Slight bit of damage is dealt, and it's Cajun B who comes out worse in this situation. Okay. Who hasn't been really contested over towards ramp all too often, will have a challenge ahead. There's a lot of Danes on the other side of this smoke, and I'm sure they're just waiting for their chance to pop and burst forward. With Yugi on the forefront, this could be problematic, but Ye will retreat, and he lays down the flames in order to secure himself safety.
It's such a hard position to play as well. He's just got to give it up and walk back down to B just due to the sheer numbers of Optic. Does make it back into the radio room where Shazam sits with the AWP, and that could be a start of something for CompLexity. A kill coming through off the back of the sniper and a trade almost found, but it's only a tag as Shazam doubles down. Gade dead as well, and no need to repeat, but he goes for it anyway, and that is a 3-course meal. Delicious work from Shazam, and CompLexity find their 3rd.
Yeah, I like that. I like that positioning here. I mean, it was last time, I believe, in the pistol, we saw Ye get pressured with such a push down B, and he just died immediately on the doorway of the ramp. This time he's got Shazam positioned in place. This first shot's smooth, right? Config gets annihilated, but Yugi did tag him back.
Yeah.
So that could have easily been a different situation where somebody else has to step up, but because you don't get past the line of sight from Shazam, it's now just going to be a fast A burst. They're trying to change the pace. Here comes Optic straight to A. Stand still good for 1, and Android up above will drop a body of his own, but it's Config who looks to come to life. Yugi supporting as well in through hut, Molotoving above as bomb goes down, and his eyes go back towards the flank, when in fact, it should be heaven they're worried about. But By putting down Molotovs, Hugo, it's not much of a threat.
The big problem here is the AWPs, right? A double AWP, sorry, on the Complexity side for a retake and a 3-on-3. That's never going to be a good situation. They may have utility, but they're going to need some shots to follow up. And that's a good nade. Does damage Config, but he still finds a shot and moves out of position. The AWP cannot stop him. And I mean, that's the only kill that they're gifted, right? Config cornered and having to move into the open. They should have him trained with the AWP, but no, he shuts him down. No fear on Config and 3 kills on that A site. I mean, this is just a multi-frag game. Every round seems like a different player going and finding 3, and Config goes one step above.
Yeah. There you go. Those are the kinds of rounds where Config's allowed to do what he does best, right? Yeah. He just barrels into a situation. He takes every duel he hopes to have, and of course wins them with relative ease. But, I mean, for Optic to just go ahead and barrel their way into the A bomb site versus a double op setup, it's perfect. Neither of those AWPs are actually positioned within the A site. You can see Stan isolated over towards Mini, and even Android's only good for 1. So it is back into the pistols for Complexity. That just spells disaster. The artillery barrage outdoors not going to connect much substantial damage, but the bodies are still here, and they're kind of lining up. There is still presence for Complexity, and we've seen them do damage in these rounds. It's helping when Optic damage themselves in the process, seeing as Ye's now got one of his own.
Config stinked 2 of his teammates in this round. He is hungry for these kills.
Get out of his damn way. Let him go first.
And there's Yugi again with a 3K. I mean, everyone's going crazy here for Optic. They don't even need Config. Although, Android, he's been a bit of a star so far for Complexity, and he's looking to do it again. Another shot missed, and Gade is so low, Android could even take this frag. As the flashes blind him, he repositions, and they don't know. Gade still trying to be isolated. Android doesn't want to commit to the open peak, but he gets it. Another headshot, and he needs a single bullet left, but it's Config to keep it going for Optic. Oh, dear. Close as you like it, not enough.
I mean, hats off. Android's trying his damnedest. Man, that was what, 1, 2, 3?
think so.
Yeah, it would have had to be 4 Deagle kills for Android. I mean, Near single-handedly wins that round. No, at least he's got Optic sweating a little bit. Obviously, with this scoreline, they're not all too worried, though.
I was going to say, yeah, money-wise as well, it doesn't matter. That round has 0 impact on the future. Optic can buy up for the rest of the half. They can buy AWPs every round. Like, it won't make a difference. So that's the big problem. If that happened earlier in the half, it could have made a difference. But Complexity, even if they capitalize on these rounds, it'll be the half over. So who cares?
Ooh, Shazam. He's going to catch a body peeking around the smoke. It's still Optic, though, to just charge their way down towards B. And it's open for the taking.
Free real estate for Optic. Trying to lock down the rotation through vents, but Ye's already wormed his way down into the B boxes. That could be a position that can come back to haunt Optic as long as there are enough Complexity members to keep up the pressure, because Ye can surely only get 1 from this spot before a trade comes through.
Yeah, but if he plants behind this silo, then he's good to go. However, it's an overextension from Gade. And Config's up above, so he throws the molly down. That burns Ye out into the open, where there are an exchange of kills. Def finding Config in the end does get this down to the man advantage, and Stanislaw extends it with yet another, so Cajun has to clutch again. It's something that he does, and he will start it off with at least 1 more. Def has fallen. Android, the next in line. Cajun with what would be another 1v3 today. If he does anything great, it is this. 4 frags total in the round as well. And with 30 seconds on the clock, there is a bit of pressure on him. Stanislaw the other side. And that's not a commitment. Although Stan capitalizes regardless, it's at least a 4th for Complexity.
I like the wrap from Stan as well. There's no way you expect a 3rd player to push in from that door, even after you shut it. Nice attempt from Cajun B, but it won't be enough. However, still with the scoreline of this half being so favorable to Optic, I don't think they care about giving up a 4th or even a 5th round here. Android on the shotgun, Shazam on the scout. It's a mixed bag here for Complexity, and Optic maybe speeding up the pace again. They've not gone for the AWP on Yugi. They're just going to speed this A site up. Android on top. He's raining down death. 2 frags. Maybe a 3rd as well, as Gade is out in the open, and Android is just knocking them down, playing dominoes on the A site, leaving Yugi alone to keep this one alive for Optic in the final round of the half. He may have found 2, but the task is not done, and Ye's dead as well.
Oh my god, a 4th is what Yugi's hunting for, and Shazam! Oh, nearly spammed, just barely gets away there. In the teens he is at the end. And again, hell of a job from Android. I mean, he's not going down without a fight.
No, that is just this game, right? This game, I've taken 2 things away from that first half. Complexity are on pistol rounds almost every single other round, and Android gets 3 Ks and still loses the round.
Android XM1023.
Loves it.
Good shotgun work on Hut. Haven't seen that since the Hiko days.
Oh, that's been a while. We see Get Right take it now on Nip, at least on this map. Nip have been frequenting a bit of Nuke. But take into account, actually, I'm pretty sure Optic beat them on Nuke at Star Series as well, if I'm not wrong. They beat them in a best of 3. I imagine it went to Nuke, but I'll have to check that.
All right, so when we last saw this matchup happen, if I remembered us correctly, it was the CT side that Optic exploited in order to get a good, strong start and ultimately finish the game 16-6. Well, CompLexity one shy of at least matching that first score. A pistol round would be great in the sense that they can at least try and throw something on this T side. I mean, you know, we mentioned them coming into this game and choosing this map in the end. Had to have, of course, alluded to some kind of preparation. You'd assume that comes in both sides, right? There's no way you bank on winning Nuke versus Optic and just thinking you can shut them down on the defense. So we'll see what this offense has in store. For the pistol, it's a double decoy smoke, 2 flashes, and a nice little set of Kevlar. Gade back behind the box, and Yugi makes first contact, so this could put Gade in a prime position. He's just going to blindside the first. Shazam slammed down. There's a second. Def swept away, and Yugi nearly caught, but he will retreat into the hell. Oh! Finds himself back into heaven, and Stanislaw clears the flank, so now things get awkward, Hugo. It's a 3 versus 2, and the bomb is down, but there's no more contact to be made. Optic allowing CompLexity to make their play.
I'm falling back into a very passive setup here for Optic. They do not want to push into this flank again from Stan. Still holding the back line with the CZ upgraded from the body of Cajun. And CompLexity, they'll double back themselves. Towards the A site, they maybe look to go. Config sits there, though, alone. And Yugi's going to have a very fast point of contact if he wants to rotate back up through heaven, combined with the fact that Snappy is in main. I mean, this is a pitch-perfect setup for Optic. CompLexity, though, they want nothing to do with it, Connor. They wrap outside instead. So while they'll be at least facing off to Snappy, it's a better situation for them to be in. And considering they've upgraded these Glocks to a little long-range pistols, these fights are certainly going to be a little easier. Timing, getting the better of Snappy. Allows him to move outside, and that's when Android strikes again. Another kill coming in from him. He finds the opener. The A site looking ripe for the taking, and Yugi spots him pushing in through main as well. So the information is in the hands of Optic, but the site is in the hands of CompLexity.
Oh, Config's position could be red. Stan, though, he's going to actually fall back, and now Config comes in shooting at his teammate. They're just caught in the open, sitting ducks. Stan, he gets himself one, but that's it. Yugi seals the pistol, and that's a fantastic position now for Optic. A back-and-forth pistol, which did have a chance. Had they been given the opportunity to wrap to the other side of Silo, then maybe we get an afterpoint here. But, I mean, look at the positioning, right? It's all 4 of the remaining players dueling, with the terrorists standing in the open, and CTs having cover to at least Jiggle Peak.
Yeah, and so many teams are just overfacing that position and both go for the fight. And there is a realistic spot where Stan just finds both kills, especially with that CZ-75. So nice reserved play from Optic, keeping all their boxes checked, and they will win that 3-on-2. So 11 rounds on the CT side now. Things are starting to look even more difficult if you can't imagine it. If you can imagine it, sorry. CompLexity, a spot where they don't get the bomb down either means that a force is likely going to be employed into this second round, but Optic have had no problem with dealing with the pistols of CompLexity before. We saw a lot of ecos on the CT side, and that found almost nothing.
Yep. You're absolutely right. Although utility, I'm always interested by these utility buys from CompLexity, because if there's one thing we have to praise, it's that they're trying to make the most on their ecos. Smoke down for Mini, Frag blows open the door, and sure enough, that does distract long enough to catch Config, but it is still the cleanup from the remaining players on A. M4 of Yugi, that's just going to lock things down. Snappy waiting for some kind of presence outdoors, but it's Gade to seal it off. Hugo, relative ease here from the Danes.
A big factor for me as well in this game is now the fact that if we remember back to when these two teams played at Austin, CompLexity were only able to put up 3 T-side rounds, if I'm right, in their first half. So we're assuming, okay, maybe they went for this map in this best of 1 because they have a strong CT side. Well, we've already proven that's not the case. So now we know that their T side is weak enough. So I'm pretty worried with the remainder of this game. They're going to have 1 eco before their rifles come back in round number 19. But even then, Connor, they are going to need a huge comeback if they want to find this victory.
I mean, they still need to find a solution to both Yugi and Config, right? Both those players now sitting well above 20 kills. Just Glocks for CompLexity, not going to make their jobs any easier. Not whatsoever. Hoping that somebody from Optic maybe gets a little overly aggressive, too ambitious. Well, There it is. Snappy's going to get caught outside silo, so Def's alone. That's not even the player stack that we anticipate to pick up a kill. This is going to draw some attention from Optic as well. But remember, Yuki's got this M4. He also has the advantage of Kevlar, which Def does not.
I'm so surprised that CompLexity are still playing this one slowly. They're expecting Optic to push up in this man disadvantage, but cleverly enough for Optic, they are not taking the bait. Config going to eventually come out and swing wide to shut down Def, but now the ramp push begins to come through. Gade, nade through, and there's the UMP starting to farm some cash, making money down on ramp. 3 kills for him. Shazam will trade it back, but it's a small consolation in an otherwise clean round for Optic, assuming Shazam doesn't go nuclear here.
He will work his way back behind control room. Take the vents up back towards A. Does spot a man inside. Puts the Molotov in. Now that could burn him out into the open, and he anticipates exactly that, but Cajun does find some cover in the corner. Shazam pre-fires? No. He gets interrupted by Cajun B, who shuts down the round, seals the deal, and will push Optic 1 point closer to victory lane. Hugo. We said this was going to be a challenge for CompLexity, and currently it's a challenge that they just cannot seem to take into their hands. It's expected, obviously, after such a damning first side. It's not going to get any easier now. Optic have that op on Yugi. Very powerful player when it comes to this ramp control. Not so much an A player with the op, Hugo.
Well, he may be tested at least outside, because look at CompLexity going for a fast push. Yugi's rotated background to take that kill and doubling it as well on the back of the orb. The spray mist from Snappy gives an opener to CompLexity and a chance to run down towards this B site, but they're taking heavy casualties. Shazam needs to find this kill, and Yugi spots him close up to the CZ. He can take the duel, although it goes down. Cajun's back in main as well to try and stop this cross towards the CT spawn, and Shazam may not realize, because this is a very nice position from Cajun. He holds his ground for now, though, and still with a player with the bomb back towards the T spawn. Stands wrapped instead of going down through B. So CompLexity do want to hit this A site later in the round, surely with these positions, but Optic have heavy control left up.
The thing with Cajun's position as well is that because he's pinned into this corner, he's not going to move. It's not even a matter of patience. It's that if he walks out, he is a liability, right? If there's any player waiting over towards Garage. So he's just going to wait him out. Shazam's going to be pinned in. It's Gade to actually start making movement, and what a lineup. Headshots galore. There's one more. Nearly. Cajun actually finds Shazam. 3 players standing at the end of this for the CT side, and of course Optic just continuing this fruitful endeavor. Again, you need to be prepared to a whole other level if you're going to try to best these guys on Nuke.
Yeah, that's a big problem for me, the map feature.
Again, as the underdogs, even though it's like, all right, we had this, shining performance from them earlier today, I do like that as the underdogs in a matchup, you try to throw, a bit of a Hail Mary. You try to catch them off guard. Maybe Optic weren't, in fact, prepared to play Nuke today. But the thing is, it's so deep in their map pool. It's such a core component of Snappy's preparations that, Danes, man. Nuke is just in their blood.
Exactly. And down towards B in this round, CompLexity have forced it together. Bit of money saved, bit of money spent, but they're going to need a lot of results if they want to make this worth their while. Conflict's already taken the bait, and Snappy's peeked out wide with him as well. Conflict still has his bomb on lockdown, but Android back with a deagle. No surprises from him. 2 kills as he now retrieves a rifle to play with. CompLexity with a foot in the door. But will Optic slam it shut, because they still have control down towards B, and Android's not going to be given a plant for free.
Flashbang that'll have no effect in this situation, and all that does is call the attention of Gade. Obviously the smoke would allow for the cross, but the Molotov denies the plant outside of it. Which means if he hears this plant noise, he's just going to spam that smoke. And at this point, he's even thrown the bomb out into the open. So it falls onto Stanislaw. He needs to lead by example here in this point. And he will actually creep around the smoke. Could find Gade with an off angle, but no! It is overtime secured. 15 rounds, Hugo, for Optic, and a 10-point difference. A nearly insurmountable challenge lies ahead.
And again, of course, I don't even need to say it, but Yugi and Config stomping this game. But Gade having another great performance. He put up a third on the scoreboard in the previous matchup that Optic played. Looked really good there, had a lot of impactful rounds, and now he's doing the same. You know, multiple rounds where he's picking up 2-3 kills just consistently and constantly being this backbone of Optic. No, he's not the star player running outside and getting 4 kills like Config, but if he's the man to fall back on and he's able to put up such a performance, I mean, this just shows the depth that Optic have.
You know, it's the theory of Optic coming into reality. You know, you still have Config performing on both the maps we've seen them so far today. Yugi has essentially changed positions with Cajun B, who is a hard carry over on Mirage. Cajun falls into the same type of performance that Yugi showed us in their opening match today, which is, you know, mid-teens consistency. And of course, Snappy at the bottom, which is fine. He doesn't need to be anywhere else when you have this kind of impact from your star players. So this is Optic giving us what some would expect. A masterclass showing on Nuke. Oh, but Def will get himself an opening out here towards the red box, finding Snappy mid-transition. And the rest of CompLexity are pretty much all behind him. They're just going to try to play the numbers game, but Yugi, well, Yugi has no problem putting up numbers of his own.
Yeah, flash outside allows the peek, but the thing is, they're getting misinformation here. Optic spot no men outside. However, that's definitely not the case. CompLexity hidden behind the boxes and smokes to be set up. They'll be going for the execute here. Yugi going to be cordoned off in this garage, but he does see contact right as the smokes bloom. So he knows there's at least a couple of players actually going for the commitment here for CompLexity. And that Molotov from the side of Optic has shut down the smoke play. They're going to have a massive gap here for Yugi to exploit. And now CompLexity looking to push on through. The flashbang over the top. Yugi misses the flick. Needs to go back in close, and that's the bomb dropped. Yugi turns around and swiveling for a second. He cannot find it. Shazam keeps it intact for CompLexity, but Gade, another big kill, is going to be traded. Optic still look to get aggressive as they're now down a man, and they've given up the A site and all of this madness, but CompLexity have not taken it.
No, but they're going to have to eventually because they're working now with 30 seconds on the clock. It will help if Def comes in from heaven, but he's going to have to get into position first. And you can see Cajun predicting exactly this. His teammate, Config, over towards the doorway. They're just looking to lock down the A bomb site. They have an inkling as to where Optic and CompLexity will clash. And they are right in assuming so. Both CTs playing with kits. 15 seconds now left, and there it is. The 2 kills quickly. Android looking to clutch back another round. The frag grenades in great anticipation. Config peering through the hole. Seals the deal. And the Great Danes stand tall here over CompLexity, over North America. They deny the chance at another 2-0 upset from the qualifying teams. And some would have expected exactly this.
Yeah, and that scoreline as well, that's got to give so much confidence for Optic moving forward again. Another team that we go, okay, they should be one of the grand finalists maybe in this event if they can step up to the form we know they can have. But that's been the question, can they show up? And finally they have here on day one of summer.
Yeah, it's looking good for them. This is, in my mind, just you know, a continuation as to what we saw in Austin, which was a good enough showing. Yeah. But it needed to continue with consistency, and at least they start here in the groups with exactly that. In terms of a best of 3, I'm looking forward to seeing more Optic again. I think they are one of the favorites here in Young Shipping. So fingers crossed we get to see again a continuation of Optic, because if this is what's going to be offered up from them, I'm excited to see.
Well, we're going to be throwing over to the desk now to see what the boys made of that. Of course, we have a lot of Optic fanboys here on the desk, don't we, Pimp?
Pimp, do we? I know this guy is definitely a fanboy of Optic.
I'm a huge fan, and I'm a huge fan of the great Counter-Strike they're producing right now. I think this is a lineup that is finally showing their potential, and pretty much all players have been showing us today what they're made of. And it's just a great sign for us Danes that we have another team we can count on within the international scene. Right, Pala?
Definitely, I cannot disagree. I mean, I've been a fan of each of those individuals on their different rosters since they've been around, but seeing them come together on the Optic roster, Dust, I think here has been fantastic.
Yeah, again, it's like one of those things where it just seemed inevitable that at some point they would figure it out, right? Even though they had a rough time at Austin, you just looked at the lineup on paper and you said, surely this is at least a top 10 team in the world. Today they took care of business, right? Like both games, they didn't allow their opponent double digits. They just swept through their opening matches today between Gambit and CompLexity. Definitely looked to be a lot more tidied up. Definitely look a little bit sharper. Seemed to be a little bit more well drilled. You're seeing their players perform really well. There was really no weak link on the team today for them throughout these games. I mean, I guess Snappy had a little bit of a tougher time on this game, but he wasn't really needed when you look at the numbers that people like Yugi and Config in particular were producing throughout that game.
Numbers, Dust, numbers. 21 rounds it took for this match to finish, and Yugi was 1 kill shy of the dirty 30, averaging 124.6 points of damage per round. Pump! What can you tell me about that?
There's a reason he's considered one of the biggest talents in not only Denmark, but I would say in the entire world. I think a lot of us analysis guys have been praising him for quite some time. 131.3
Yeah, even
power.
higher. I was checking HLTV.
Yeah, but
maybe
it's around a hit, you know. So
yes, fair enough.
But you're right, you know,
for that.
131 ADR. You see Gate as well with
131.
91. Is also decent. Config obviously up there. It's just this team has so much potential. If you want to look at the positive from CompLexity, Android had one hell of a game. He was basically the only reason they even got around on the board.
Yeah.
And we did question why Nuke was left inside this veto, and I think we got the answer straight right here.
Yeah.
CompLexity may have improved on Nuke in practice, but they're no good going up against Danish teams on Nuke right now.
I do wonder what the difference was as a starting side, because it was like Optic who got like a 13-2 CT side in Austin and the 16-6 win. So CompLexity never even got to see Optic's terrorist side. And I was wondering if maybe they were expecting to have Optic start CT side again, like maybe that they one-on-one knife they could have chosen to take the T side first, like, and just try to counter-strat them basically, but they didn't get the chance because Optic starts on the T side this time around and just blew them out of the water. You know, 10-5, then they won pistol second half. It's pretty much over at that point.
Now, Dust and Jacob, I am very excited to announce we have an interview ready with Gade, a young man that I've not had the chance to speak to before. Smiling away, how are you doing, sir?
Good, thanks. Just won against CompLexity, so happy.
Indeed, and that means you're directly through to the semi-finals. Firstly, how does that feel?
Great. We have a day off tomorrow and be able to practice a bit, so great.
Indeed. Second question from myself. Are you overall satisfied with the performances you guys have given today? Because the scorelines were pretty darn good.
Yeah, definitely. We have had a bit of struggle in the opening matches and the past 3 wins, so I'm glad we managed to pull off 2 wins this one.
All right. Pimp, Dust?
Yeah, I want to give you a little bit of a personal teaser right here, because you're obviously new to a lot of us, and myself included. You came from the North Academy. How do you feel the jump is from playing on an academy team like North, you know, going into Optic? You were in NA for 3 months as well. You've been through a lot as of lately. How do you feel about all this, basically?
I mean, it's been a journey from last year. I came on the academy team, and now I'm joining Optic from February, so I'm playing with a lot of new players, experienced players, so I'm just trying to suck it all up and learn as much as I can, do my best, and hopefully I'll get on a contract with these guys.
Yeah, and how do you feel it's going right now? Because you are an unknown quantity to a lot of us. I feel like when we're watching you, both me and Dust, you have obviously some individual qualities, but how do you measure with the guys? Are they giving you space to do your stuff as well? Or are you basically just catering into them and learning from this point?
Yeah, I think it's a good back and forth between us. I think I still have a lot to prove personally, so I just want to keep playing and just showing them what I'm capable of.
Dust?
Yeah, I was kind of curious because when you look at this lineup, like everyone on this team are veterans that have like really established roles. Like, you know, Snappy's the IGL, you know Yugi's going to op, you know Config's an entry fragger, you know what Cajun B is going to do. And so it feels like you almost have to kind of come in and just fill the gaps.
Yeah, that's basically what I do.
Is that something that you're fine with doing, or do you feel like maybe there's like a level of play that you could even hit if you got more catered to, or kind of what is your thoughts on how you fill the gaps on this team?
I think we're good at balancing it. I don't mind taking all like filling in, I should say. I just play for the team and want to do the best for the team, so I don't mind being that support player, whatever you want to call it. I still do have entry roles on some maps, so I'm satisfied with how I'm playing and how I'm being used.
Great
player. Good
stuff.
thing, right?
Guys, Gade, final thing. Jacob touched upon it a bit. Just quickly, what's it like to be in the position you are now in your career? Like Jacob said, having gone through the academy and now made it onto the Optic roster and proving yourself at tournaments like this.
Feels great. Hopefully we can just keep showing good results now and bring home the trophy on Monday.
It feels great, Pala.
He's a soft-spoken guy. Gade, we love you. Best of luck. You're through to the semis. Damn, Optic really stamping their authority on day one here at DreamHack Summer.
I think it's the best looking team as of today. Obviously Imperial have been looking great as well, but I think Optic is a team you can count on keeping on this form, whereas Imperial is still a sort of unknown quantity in terms of are they going to continue that in the semi-final when it comes into the best of threes and when it gets a little bit more to the nitty-gritty. So great to see Optic finally releasing some of that potential. I think I'm satisfied with what happened today, and
Releasing from where, Config? No, never mind.
It's fine.
Let's move on from that and get into the top 5 plays of the day. We've seen some crackers, and let's get right into them. We're starting off with a Go versus Red Reserve, and Furlan's 5K on Train. It was an ace. ACE had them up his sleeve. The poker dealer gave him the chips. The hand was done and finished. He went away a happy man with more money in his bank account. Moving on to number 4, we also have another play from that match, a Go versus Red Reserve, but this time it's Tao heads, shoulders, knees, and toes. Heads and shoulders. Great shampoo. I don't know anything about, never used it. 4K on Train. These guys had a good start to the tournament, but they didn't get the result they wanted in that second matchup, and they will be in the losers bracket tomorrow. Moving on to number 3, we have Optic versus Gambit. And this time it was Cajun B with his 3K USP and that rather sneaky defuse in the smoke. He created a fantastic angle there, which you couldn't really see through, or the bomb itself, and it put Gambit in disarray. Congratulations to him. Again, another player from Optic moving through to the semi-finals. Play number 2 is from Imperial versus Ago. Esperanto, 5K with that AWP on Mirage. We saw him firing off on all cylinders today, and he did a fantastic job. It's a guy that we've spoken about on Desk, one of the young guns out to prove himself. Pimp has said that in FPL he's one of the strongest, and now he's trying to show that same talent on LAN. And now, our number 1 play of the day is Imperial versus North, and it's Nuke with his ace on Train. This was fantastic with the pistol, switching it up from Glock to USP, laying down some headshots and also planting that bomb. A little bit of cheeky extra money.
A little bit of cheeky extra money, Pala. What a way to present those
There's
top
a lot of
5
aces
plays.
today.
Thank you. Sorry?
A lot of aces today.
There were. There were indeed. There's 3 at least in our top 5 plays.
I
Yeah.
have a
that was
question for
nuts.
you, Pala. When
Yes.
was the last time you did an ace you remember?
Sorry, what?
When was the last time you did an ace you remember?
An ace that I remember.
Yeah.
Oh, I have so many that they're just flooding into my head right now that I couldn't even pick one, Pimp. And trust me.
That's
You trust me, right?
Yeah, I trust you.
When's the last time that you were going to give someone the tip and it actually worked out the way you wanted?
Hey, about that, Pala. You have to finish the show.
All right, yeah, let's finish off the show. Thank you very much, everybody, for
Americans.
staying tuned. We've seen a fantastic array of Counter-Strike Day throughout our 6 matches, and now we have our first 2 semi-finalists. We just saw Gambit reaching that, joining Imperial. Imperial slightly surprising. Optic maybe more of a favorite. Anyway, we still have that lower bracket to see through tomorrow, and exactly how that pans out, only time will tell. Let me thank our sponsors again, Astro, Corsair, Monster Energy, and Hacks. We wear them on the chest. Be sure to join us again tomorrow for more fantastic action, and we can delve further into the depths of Counter-Strike. My name is Parla. That's Pimp's Hand, and we'll see you then.
Place your